If you are coming to the roundabout and you want to take a left at the roundabout or go straight, you have to stay on the outside of the roundabout. This is if you are going straight or if you are going to the left. If you are going right, you are staying on the inner lane, which we call the right lane. That will take you right or around the roundabout where you came from. Currently, there is also some ongoing road works at the roundabout in the vicinity of the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw International Airport.
Did you understand that?
Yes, if you're going right, you stay on the inside. And if you are going left, you stay on the outside, left or straight.
But when you're exiting, you always exit on the left. So we have some roundabouts with 3 or 4 access points, and the question is, and which is part of the issue really, when do you stay in the left lane and when do you take the right lane? And I think that that is what causes a lot of confusion, particularly at the roundabout by the ECCB.
How did you know that that is a roundabout a problem for me as well? Because every time I know I'm going left because I'm heading home and somebody is going left too, they barge into the inner roundabout and then trying to cut me off as I'm about to turn to go out.
There you go. The way that I understood it before when another officer explained it is that if you are exiting either in the first or the second exit, if you're taking that exit, then you stay to the left. If you have to take the third, or if you're going around again, then you stay on the right until you are about to
on
exit.
The inside, exactly. But they're always trying to go in the right, beat you, and then want to cut out in front of you. And I guess that's why we have so many accidents sometimes normally at the roundabouts.
Yeah, and the forgive me, but the explanation perhaps could use a little work. In any event, we're moving on to our second story by way of a St. Kitts and Nevis Olympic Committee press release. The 22nd edition of the Commonwealth Games, CWG, will be held in Birmingham, England from the 28th July to 8th August 2022. And the St. Kitts and Nevis Olympic Committee, Commonwealth Games Association, the SKNOC CGA, will make its 10th appearance at these games. The team will be led by the chef de mission, Mr. Leroy Green, and general team manager, Mr. Lester Hanley. The divisions and athletes are as follows. Athletics, track and field with Emma Clark, Warren Hazel, Nadali Bunton, and Kazan David. Beach volleyball, St. Clair Hodge and Sean Seabrooks. And the team officials, Rhoda Johnson, athletics, track and field coach, and Richard Swan, who was here previously, beach volleyball coach. Athletics competitions will take place from the 2nd to the 7th of August 2022, and beach volleyball from the 30th of July to the 7th of August 2022. All right, here we go.
Look at that. So, may the guys, it's all got, well, Amaya.
With you, is that?
Yeah, I guess so. May the force be with you and maybe bring back some medals from that.
There you go. Yeah.
Those Commonwealth Games. Eddie Kane's football coaching program on the way from Nevis Pages. Long-serving coach on Nevis, Emmanuel Eddie Kane's got his 17th annual football coaching program on the way on Monday, 11 July. In previous years, the football camp was held at the St. Thomas Primary School, but this year the new venue is the Nevis Athletic Stadium or the Mundo Track. There was no official opening ceremony this time around, but Keynes in an interview indicated that the camp will close on Friday, the 22nd July, with the possibility of a certification ceremony. Keynes used the opportunity to thank the many sponsors who have supported his program throughout the years, naming almost all of the significant business institutions on the island as sponsors. One such sponsor, the Bank of Nevis, was represented by its very energetic marketing officer, Fionn Jones, who noted that the Bonstrong family will always be supporting such programs as the institution believes in helping people to develop and grow. He also indicated that the bank will be giving some custom-designed footballs to the participants. This year, some 37 children, mainly from the primary schools and early secondary schools, have registered for the program. For the first week, they will be taught or refreshed in areas such as dribbling, passing, shooting, and controlling the ball, and also aspects of goalkeeping. During the second week, they will be introduced to more advanced aspects of the training.
All right.
Great initiative. So the kids get to work out during the summer.
Indeed. All right, we're going to take a brief look at our weather now. It's going to be partly cloudy with a 50% or moderate chance of showers, a high of 90 degrees and a low of 75 degrees Fahrenheit. That is your weather for the day. We will be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
Most people consume excess salt from processed foods, such as snack foods, processed meats, instant meals, and condiments.
Instead, use fresh vegetables, ground provision, fresh meats, and natural herb seasonings, just like our grandparents did, and just like you did with this soup. We are Salt Smart.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We continue now with the latest in regional news. This from the Virgin Islands Consortium. Olin Vine and Kadeem Maynard will remain in detention for longer than originally scheduled after Judge Kathleen Williams acceded to a request from Andrew Foy for a continuance until January next year. The motion submitted by the former BVI Premier's Counsel and unopposed by prosecutors and by attorneys for Foy's co-defendants argues that the parties, both prosecution and the defense, have agreed that due to several delays, technical and otherwise, Foy's legal team has not had sufficient time to properly prepare for trial, which was initially set for July 18th. The motion indicated that some of the audio and video files turned over by the prosecution in the discovery process were unreadable, and that efforts were underway to figure out and hopefully address the issue. Also ongoing were negotiations over exactly what material pertaining to the Drug Enforcement Administration's confidential source could be turned over.
Oh my gosh, look at that. So what do they mean, that they're all going to be incarcerated until
Detention, yeah.
until January of next year?
Effectively,
Wow.
That's what I gathered from this.
Wow, so no bail for anybody.
Look at it. You have issues with the evidence, and obviously, prosecution cannot prove its case without sufficient evidence. And if there are issues with the evidence as well, the defense can't adequately prepare a defense either. So those are issues that obviously would have to be considered. In any event.
May it be sorted soon. We continue now with international news. This from Al Jazeera. Russia and Ukraine made substantive progress in their first direct talks since March on a deal to relieve a global food crisis caused by the blockading of grain exports from Ukraine's Black Sea ports. But an end to the war remains far off as heavy shelling continue in the east of the country. The high-stakes meeting on Wednesday in Istanbul involving Ukraine, Russian, UN and Turkish officials broke up after slightly more than 3 hours with an agreement to meet again in Turkey next week, UN and Turkish officials said. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said after the meeting that the talks on allowing grain exports had provided a ray of hope to ease human suffering and alleviate hunger around the world. But he also cautioned that while he was optimistic, a deal was not yet fully done. Asked about the possibility of talks on peace, Guterres warned that there was still a long way to go before there would be peace talks to end the war. Sustained Russian shelling across Donetsk province continued on Wednesday. Moscow aimed to capture the province to complete its seizure of the industrialized Donbass region of eastern Ukraine. So we can talk about food, but we can't end the war so that the food can flow without blockage. Come on. People are dying. People need relief. People are suffering. People are dislocated from their homes. How can peace not be the first priority?
Has it ever been?
Oh, man.
Depends
You
on
are correct.
whom you ask, because in the international sphere, there seems to be other motives. Surprisingly, you may or may not realize sooner than later that when countries start to think about the people in their own regions who were affected either by gas prices or absence of food, then certain decisions would likely be taken. So realistically, I think you're looking at it from a general perspective, which is good. But eventually what we're going to start to see, potentially, is anyway, people looking at it from their own country's perspectives. And maybe that's what we have.
And what they can benefit. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, there you have it for the latest in regional and international news. Stay tuned. There is so much more on the other side of this break.
You see that new boy that just joined the school last week? He brought me a chocolate this morning because I showed him the way home from school yesterday.
You like him?
No, he's just my friend. Plus, he is my neighbor. He asked me if we can walk home together for lunch tomorrow, and I told him yes.
I don't like these big boys. They tend to like to touch girls without your consent.
What do you mean by consent?
It's when one person agrees to give permission to another person to do something.
He is cute though.
Guys, you won't believe what happened the other day with the new boy from school.
What happened?
The other day, while walking home with the new guy, he followed me into my house. I thought it was okay because he seemed friendly and respectful. So I turned on the TV and offered him a soda. We sat in the chair together. Then he leaned over and he kissed me. I was so shocked I sat up straight and asked him why he did that. He said he thought I liked him. I told him not in that way.
What? Girl, you should have never allowed him inside your parents' home.
My parents will be very angry if they meet any boys in our home plus kissing me.
Guys, we don't need to be burdened down with teen pregnancy and relationship problems at this time. Boys need to understand that girls are not sex objects.
Remember, you have the right to consent to every activity being performed, from holding hands to anything more, and to change your mind at any time. If your partner does not respect your wishes, this also is a form of abuse. If you, your friend or family member is being abused, you can contact one of the numbers listed below for help. Department of Gender Affairs 662-5492, Special Victims Unit 662-7077, Counseling Unit 465-5000. This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and the Pan American Health Organization.
Everyone is encouraged to adopt a healthy and positive approach to daily life. Here are a few friendly reminders.
When you go to the local market and food vendors, remember to maintain a social distance of 6 feet or 2 meters apart. And always wear your mask.
Always keep your hands clean. Wash your hands with soap and water or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. When dining, choose restaurants with staggered seating. This will lower the risk of transmission.
If you have a fever, cough, or other respiratory symptoms, please wear a mask and seek medical care immediately. Rest at home and do not visit the food vendors, local markets, or restaurants.
Salt is an important part of the human diet, but most of us consume more than we realize.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
I wear a mask because I want to protect my child, but also I want to protect his classmates and his teachers.
I wear a mask because I care about the frontline workers who will have to work even harder if those around me get sick.
I wear a mask to protect my family. I wear a mask to protect you. I wear a mask because it is the right thing to do.
I wear a mask because I don't want to put any vulnerable individuals at risk, like my elderly loved ones.
I wear a mask because
we are all in this together.
I'm here to St. Kitts, Nevis. You don't know if I must represent for the Ministry of Health. Yeah. Respect the COVID protocols. In a time like this, all for one for all. St. Kitts, Nevis. Don't forget your mask. Wear it everywhere you go. Sanitize before and after everything you do. Cause you never know what's on the surface of the places you go. Maintain a safe social distance between me and you. Keep calm and stay focused. Don't be a fool, seek the facts first. And boost your immune system up. Don't wanna lose no more of us. Mask up, furlough, sanitize, observe the protocols all about. Be wise. Mask up, furlough, sanitize. Me family fitting boat and you. Blessed love and greetings. This is Infamous, and I am here to encourage every Kittitian and Nivision to remember that we have our part to play in the fight against COVID-19. So sanitize, wear your face mask, practice social distancing, and go and get vaccinated. For me no know about you, but me love St. Kitts bad. Easy no man.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I coming Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
Where are you going? I just mopped the floor and now the chair leaving marks all over the place. Come on, go in bed, see? Sometimes I just can't take you on.
Violence is expressed in many ways. Most, unfortunately, go unreported or unaddressed for many reasons. If you or someone disabled is being abused, contact the police at 465-2241, social services at 467-1314, or the St. Kitts Nevis Association of Disabled Persons at 465-2151, 663-9077, or 663-4116. This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. The University of the People defines history as the knowledge and study of the past. It is the story of the past and a form of collective memory. History is the story of who we are, where we come from, and where we are headed. Notably, many avoid this subject as it calls for revisiting some ugly truths, revealing who we and others are as individuals and people. This morning, we have the pleasure of having Ms. Toni Frederick Armstrong, history teacher at the Bastyr High School, and one of her history proteges to help us discuss this subject and the recent experience in the Caribbean Secondary Education Council CSEC examinations. Welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Welcome, ladies.
Good morning.
Yes, this is such a privilege to be sitting
next to your favorite teacher.
Well, in a way, but we'll get to that hopefully if we have time, in a way. So we're here to talk about history again. How did you find the recent CSEC exams, Toni?
Well, I think you should probably ask Tanisha that. This is one of my fifth formers, Tanisha, was a fifth former, Tanisha Warner. My feeling would be that it was really rough, but let's see what Tanisha has to say.
Well, in my opinion, it was decent enough. I feel that I prepared well enough for the questions that were brought, and that I answered to the best of my ability, though some of them kind of threw me. But I just backtracked and found a little bit of knowledge on the next question and then clean it up.
But perhaps I should explain what happened because of the delays with COVID for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
These guys were really at a disadvantage because they were behind going from 3rd to 4th. They were behind going from 4th to 5th because the school year never was completed. So every year they went in to the next form, they were behind in the syllabus. And there was a lot of catching up to do. And of course, so they're behind going into 5th. And these guys worked so hard. We did classes in the Christmas. We did classes in Easter. They came back in 3rd term, which is something they don't normally do because they had so much catching up. They did so much more homework. Then at the very last minute, CXC said, oh, well, we're going to give you guys the topics. These are just the broad topics, which was honestly a gift. And I'm still grateful for that because it meant that of all of the topics that could come, again, general, but they could say, well, there will be a question on the sugar revolution or a question on the Emancipation Act. So it allowed us to say, okay, fine, we can focus on these topics. But one of the main topics that they gave, the question, I'm not even sure I understood what the question was. Okay, so the students were preparing in the way that the syllabus is laid out, in the way that it's normally taught, and they came from a very unusual angle. I mean, the other teachers were like, have they changed the syllabus? So it was for students who were really focused on that question, like Tanisha was, but because she has such a broad knowledge, like she said, she was able to just, wheel and come again, as they say. But I think it was a shock for a lot of students. And again, those who have a more broad knowledge and who, had been studying a little longer were fine. I think.
Admire full confidence, though.
Yes.
And then, of course, there was the multiple choice, and boy, did we prepare.
Oh, wow.
How many we had? Thank God for the online system that they put in place because of COVID. We took full advantage of that. I was with these guys several nights a week.
Yes. Oh, wow.
And we just rehearsed and prepared.
So you went to night school, Tanisha?
Yes, we did, and all year long, not just, but certainly coming up to the exam. Yeah, so we did what we could, but it wasn't easy because it was rushed. I felt the syllabus was really rushed because of COVID, and the exams weren't moved, and I think they gave us a couple extra weeks. But I don't think it was easy, and I really commend Tanisha and her all of the fifth formers and all of the schools for getting through.
So Tanisha, I'm going to put it out there. So can we expect a distinction from you?
I hope so.
No pressure.
Not at all. So Ms. Frederick, how do you manage to make history fun? I remember how you make it fun for me, but it's a different generation. How do you manage to make it fun for them?
Again, if I sadly, because of COVID, there isn't as much time to make things fun. I did try this year. There was a little bit of a breather, so I did in some of the other forms try to throw in a few fun things like dramatic presentations and let's pretend you're in, the British Parliament debating the Emancipation Act. So, but there wasn't. Well, first of all, with COVID, there were no field trips for the longest while. By the time they said, field trips, it was pretty much the end of the school year. So that ruled out a lot of the ability to say, like, go to Brimstone Hill or the Wingfield Rum Distillery or any of those things. And again, with the fifth formers in particular, it was a case of there's just so much content. Do we have time? At one point, we had said, great, everybody's going to do presentations. And then as it got closer, I said, guys, you know what? We don't have time. Because it means that 2 or 3 classes will be taken up with people doing presentations, which would be fun. You guys did your presentations. I still remember them. But, we had to scrap it in the interest of covering the syllabus. So I guess the best you can do is, just be an interesting teacher, be willing to talk about anything they're interested in talking about. You can't be too rigid. So if you're talking about a topic and there's some sort of related thing, maybe in modern day, I try to connect things to modern day. Like when we're talking about, the effects of slavery and our skin color becoming a mark of degradation, then we connected it to the Black Lives Matter movement. And, to just sort of make it relevant, make them understand that problems that we have today, well, not just problems, things that are happening today are connected to our history.
All right, Tanisha, did you feel that sense when you were going through it, of that connectivity? And even now?
Yeah, I did. Like most of the conversations that I would have with my father, I realized that some of the stuff she was talking about in school, they were coming back and I was like, this making sense? No. So I was really glad for, and she's a very fun teacher, honestly. I always feel integrated in whatever we're doing, whatever topics we're doing, I always feel that it's fun and I'm learning a lot more than I wouldn't learn out in the world, All
right, I'm going to keep the focus on you. I
didn't know she felt that way.
So I want to keep the focus on you just a little bit longer. In terms of the way that history applies to real life, a lot of people say, history is a boring subject. History is better left in the past. God knows when I was doing it, I felt that way to some extent. I feel differently now. As a history protege of Tony's, what's the relevance of it to you?
I feel that as any young person going out into the world and any person in a diverse culture and in the world that we are now, I feel that we should at least know stuff that happened back then so we could be able to understand when we're going out into the future. Because if we don't have a good amount of knowledge about the past, how can we progress into the future? And I feel that history helped me a lot especially with writing and trying to get all that knowledge, because it's a very heavy content subjects, so you have to know a lot. And I honestly love history. I love reading. I would read textbooks on textbooks of history. It's very interesting to know where I come from, all the struggles that led me to this point where I can be able to walk freely, wear a head wrap, and just be my true self and knowing where I came from in society.
Those are very good points. Absolutely proud of you that you made them. And I know somebody else who is as well.
If you couldn't tell how proud I am.
Indeed. All right, so we'll take a short break and we'll be back to continue this discussion in a moment. More GMSKN in a flash. Stay tuned, everyone.
Let's face it, most parents or guardians don't want to think about their teens having sex, let alone contemplate the possibility that they might get pregnant or get someone pregnant. Teenage pregnancy is a situation that involves female adolescents. A teenage female can be pregnant as early as age 12 or 13, although it is usually 14 and older. The fact that teenagers become pregnant is related to many factors. Here are some tips to decrease teen pregnancy. Teach teenagers comprehensive sex education. Target messages at teen boys, not just girls. Get the whole community involved. Encourage mentoring, parental involvement, and support. This message was brought to you by Project Viola through the Department of Gender Affairs with support from the Basic Needs Trust Fund and the Caribbean Development Bank.
I wear a mask because I want to protect my child, but also I want to protect his classmates and his teachers.
I wear a mask because I care about the frontline workers who will have to work even harder if those around me get sick.
I wear a mask to protect my family. I wear a mask to protect you. I wear a mask because it is the right thing to do.
I wear a mask because I don't want to put any vulnerable individuals at risk, like my elderly loved ones.
I wear a mask because
we are all in this together.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We are speaking with history teacher Tony Frederick Armstrong and one of our history students. So I will dive right into it, straight to my favorite teacher, yes. So in your opinion, how...
Well, you need to tell them why I'm your favorite teacher.
Spoken like a teacher.
Sorry, I was being very teacher.
As I said, she not only taught us history, but if there was an issue in class, including something personal, we all felt comfortable to talk to her. And it's amazing that our history class sometimes they turn into a whole family life class, and then we diverted right back to history. And Tanisha shared the same sentiment. Anything that they had an issue on, Ms. Frederick was open to speak about it. And that's what we want, teachers that listen and not just teachers that say, let's get it on. So yeah, so that's why you are my favorite teacher. And she always encouraged you. And just now she gave me the sweetest words. You are doing great. Oh my God.
I'm very proud. I'm very proud of you.
Hashtag you later,
and you too.
With Let's Get It On.
I almost broke into song, so you all need to give thanks that I didn't. Okay.
So Ms. Frederick, in your opinion, how relevant is history? How relevant is the history included in the curriculum to our Caribbean experience and context?
Well, I was actually in high school when we switched to the CXC syllabus. That's how old I am. And prior to that, we were doing British history.
Okay.
So we were studying about Francis Drake, but in British history, Francis Drake is a hero.
Yeah.
When we switched to CXC history, we start looking at it from the Caribbean context. And we all know that Francis Drake was a privateer, right?
Yes.
He was a pirate who stole stuff on behalf of Queen Elizabeth I. So it's a very different angle.
Yeah.
But it is relevant, completely relevant, because it covers Caribbean history from beginning, the indigenous people. And currently the syllabus ends at around when the countries became independent. So it ends at about 1985. But that's already 30 years, no? Really. So it's going to have to extend a little further. The problem is getting all that information in. But it is all relevant. The only thing maybe we could use a little less time with, even though it's part of the understanding, is that we do look a tiny bit at European history because we have to understand the context of the Renaissance and how Christopher Columbus came to be here. So you do have to get that in, but you can teach something in 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, or you could teach something in an hour. So I think that maybe in order to make a little bit more room or a bit more time for some of the other topics, that there could be some adjustments here and there. But I am comfortable with the syllabus covering everything. I'm concerned though that it is a lot of information. And my advice to anybody in first form now, in second form, save your notebooks because it's all going to, well, actually, I have to, let me change that because they're now changing the syllabus actually. And first, second, and eventually third form is going to be a more local content. And the CXC syllabus is going to start a little later in the year, which means that we're going to be really shoving everything into a shorter space of time. But, save your notebooks because you do have to go back and go back over everything, all the way back to first form stuff and second form stuff. And so, yeah, but it covers what it needs to cover, but it's a lot. It's a lot of information. And so when you have these unexpected things like COVID crises, you really...
They're going to be setbacks, obviously. All right, so I can actually appreciate the focus on the local curriculum, local history, because I think that was one of the things that was missing when I was in school. And so, Tanisha, to your point, how much exposure to local history do you think you received when you were preparing for history in general, but more so for CXC?
My eyes are open to a lot of information, but I still feel that there is more that I need to know. Definitely.
Okay.
It's touched on in first form, just barely, coming out of primary school, we sort of go over the, independence and so on, and the flag and the national symbols. But one of the things that teachers can do, and I certainly try, is, again, when you're making those connections. So if you're talking about the slave trade, you say, so in Basse-Terre, and then you give examples, you give local examples. One of the huge topics in the syllabus is in the 1930s, there were worker protests across the region. Well, Buckley's was one of them. And in fact, St. Kitts features in those textbooks, which is pretty cool when you think about it. Because these textbooks are very much centered on the big islands. The examples are often the big islands. So when you see St. Kitts, you get very excited. So there is that. It's actually part of the syllabus. But even, again, when you're giving examples, so what happened after emancipation? Well, in the larger countries, all the former slaves left the plantations. But in small islands, like St. Kitts, every square inch of St. Kitts was under sugar. There was nowhere for them to go.
Exactly.
And there's actually a map that actually shows you all the sugar estates. And really, all of St. Kitts was under sugar. So these poor people had nothing to do but to stay and keep working for people who had them enslaved. So if you can give St. Kitts examples in the CXC syllabus, that helps to make those connections as well. So I think that, we have some pretty good history teachers out there. I think everybody's doing that. I hope
That's one
everybody's
right here. So Tanisha, what was your most interesting subject in history? Well, I should say interesting topic in history, and your least interesting. So the most interesting and the least interesting.
Can I answer that too? Because teachers have least interesting.
My most interesting topic, it's so hard to choose because I like all of them, honestly. But the one that stands out the most to me is definitely slavery.
Okay.
And least interesting would be, which one it would be, Bonnie?
She loved them all.
I'm not putting words in her.
Wait, I change it. The most interesting one would be plantation life on slavery plantation. And the least interesting would be Christopher Columbus when he came to the Caribbean.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. And Ms. Frederick?
Well, for me as well, the whole sugar revolution, slavery thing, that what really made us who we are, that stuff. And fortunately, this isn't a topic that we currently do at my school, because you can't do all of the themes. But we did 20 years ago, and it was economic diversification, which is why you guys did your projects. Really dull. This is where you talk about after sugar, they branched off into all of these different crops. And it's difficult to teach, it's boring. What I did with the Quartetiers group is I said, you guys are gonna teach it. So here, you guys are gonna teach about bananas, and you guys are gonna teach about arrowroot, and you're gonna teach about rice, and everybody got into it. And they came with samples of rice and different banana shoots, and I was like, where is it gonna end? I would never have thought of doing that. So again, you have to, but it's dull.
I love the way you did that. You reminded me of some of the strategies that I used when I was in the classroom. You do it. You do it. You get a whole lot more of an enriching experience.
And you get more involvement. And I think some of them said when that question came upon the exam, they said, pick a thing, and they were ready.
Yeah, they practice and they prepare.
All right, so Tanisha, the final word is yours, and we really want to know what advice you'd give to other students about history in general, preparation for CXC or exams, and generally just preparing for exams and even life, future.
Definitely you should read. So you have a topic on slave resistance. So you're going to read that whole chapter. And then after you have read it, you can write down the basic main points. So like, who were the most important ones? When did they happen? And all the different revolts and riots. You can also read and then explain it to someone so that you can understand it. Because something that I read a while ago is that when you explain something in the simplest terms, that means you understand it. But if you're going all around, that means you really understand it. You can also read and then say it out loud so you can hear yourself saying it. And then while you're doing all of that, you're going to basically be remembering all of it. So all of it is just getting into there. And I'll leave the last verse to you.
That's the advice I always give them. When you write something in your own words, it sticks in your head. It's magic. And that's essentially it. The other advice I always give, because history in particular, and any topic that requires essay writing, so English and so on, how you write is really important. You can't go and just put down point form. And so practice writing. But the key is, I always say, pretend that you're explaining it to somebody who knows nothing about the topic. Don't assume they know anything. So you can't just say the population of the Caribbean increased after the introduction of sugar. You have to say, because sugar required a large labor force, thousands of Africans were brought here and the population increased. Sorry if I'm getting into history. But it's an example of imagining that you are explaining it to your granny. Use simple terms. Don't try to use big old words that you're not sure the meaning of and how to spell. Simple is sometimes easier. It's certainly easier, and it's often more clear. And so I just connect my stuff to Tanisha's stuff and say, go get them.
That's great. Listen, I can't let you go without letting our viewers know that Tony is a major part of the reason that I'm here today. I've mentioned you so many times on the show. I said that you've been my radio mom. 20 years ago, you introduced me to media and kept me under your wing, and I so appreciate that. And I see that you're doing the same thing with your students, all of us here. You've touched us, so we're really appreciative of everything that you've done.
Very appreciative.
Continue the good work.
I am so humbled, and honestly, you often don't know the effect you have on people, and so to hear it, of course, face to face, that makes you very emotional. But thank you, and my absolute pleasure, and I'm so proud of you guys, and I couldn't have even imagined anything better than this for my video.
That's okay.
I did that the other day, so I'm following in my footsteps. It's good.
That's okay.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. All right, we'll be back in a moment. Everyone, stay tuned. Yep.
Hey, my friend, what going on?
Not a thing. I just here cooling under this tree, about to eat a mango or two.
Where you get mango from all now?
Boy, Auntie Rose bring me some mango this morning.
Oh, gosh. What you hit me for?
You give me something to put on?
Girl, you can't just come tempting me with these juicy round pally mangoes and expect me not to want some.
Just because something looks appealing and you want it doesn't mean you are entitled to it and that you should touch or take it. Your mother ain't teach you manners. Ask for consent first before you touch up the mango them.
But why ask? And if it's dear, it's dear. Just take it. Why ask?
Simple. If it is mine and you ain't asked for it, it is called, wait for it, stealing.
That's true. My bad. Okay. May I please have some mangoes?
I don't know. After that spectacle, I ain't sure I want to give you any.
You see that? But I ask.
Just because you ask doesn't mean I have to give. It is still my mangoes.
So what you tell me ask for then?
Because consent is everything. Had you asked first, I would have been more inclined to give you one. And just because you ask doesn't mean I have to give you. You got it?
Okay, I got it. Now, may I please have some mangoes?
Only because you're my friend and I like you. But that still don't mean you're entitled to it.
Okay, I get it. I get it.
Good. Don't leave your mango skin on the ground, eh?
If you understand the importance of asking for someone's consent for a mango, then it shouldn't be too hard to understand consent when it comes to sex. The power of consent is everything. Ask first. If you or a friend has been sexually assaulted, please call 465-5000 for the Counseling Center.
This message was brought to you by No Judgment SKN and sponsored by the Basic Needs Trust Fund, the Department of Gender Affairs, and the Caribbean Development Bank.
Has anyone ever touched you here, here, or here? Well, these are actually bad touches, not good ones. And so, if anyone ever touches you in these areas or anywhere else that makes you uncomfortable, you must say no, then go and tell. Say it with me. Say no, then go and tell.
This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with Probation and Child Protection Services, the Ministry of Health, and the Pan American Health Organization.
You can lower your salt intake by reducing salty foods, removing table salt, and using salt alternatives when cooking.
Do you know that common baked goods such as bread and crackers are high in salt? Get salt smart.
In our previous segment, we had an intriguing conversation with a passionate history teacher here in the Federation, Tony Frederick Armstrong, and her student, Tanisha. Well, we are now going to play a fun game of history trivia. It'll be the Good Morning SKN host versus the students. So each person will take turn answering a question, and if they get the question incorrect, then it will automatically get passed on to the next team, and that person will also get to answer the following question. Each person has 2 lifelines. Let's see who will win. So we will begin. What was the year Christopher Columbus came to the Caribbean? 1492. That was easy. Yeah. So Tanisha, you ready for your word? All right. No problem. So Tanisha, what is another name for the Caribbean? West Indies, Northern Plains, Atlantic Islands, Hot Islands.
West Indies.
Oh my gosh, I have competition here. The political union of the West Indies Federation began in, I am going to say 1962.
That's incorrect.
Oh my gosh, okay, Tanisha, take it away.
Coming up again.
Can we have the years? 1962, 1958, 1945, 1970.
1945.
I should have stuck to my guns. It's 1958. Oh, so I would have gotten it wrong both times. Okay, I concede. On which island was the headquarters of the West Indies Federation? Anguilla, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Kitts and Nevis, or Jamaica? I'm gonna say St. Kitts and Nevis. Oh my gosh, my teacher shaking her head like, that is so wrong. Tanisha, you want to take it away? So it's Anguilla, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Kitts and Nevis, or Jamaica?
It's most likely Trinidad and Tobago.
Really?
Yes.
But Trinidad is not part of the West Indies.
No, because that was the West Indies Federation, and that was before.
But they said the headquarters of the West Indies Federation.
Yeah, it's in Trinidad.
But that's not fair. They're not West Indians. Okay. All right. I've argued my point. What is the name of the crop that was most popularly grown in St. Kitts? If I get this wrong, I ought to be put out of class in sugar cane. Okay, so what was Christopher Columbus? A king, a merchant, a slave, an explorer?
He was an explorer.
Easy peasy. This is like CoverGirl. Which island in the Caribbean is known as the motherland of the Caribbean? Motherland. Oh my gosh, is it Dominica? I got that wrong?
St. Kitts and Nevis.
I thought so, but then I said no, they're too little. Oops. My history is poor. The Panama Canal connects which 2 bodies of water? The Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean, the Hudson Bay and the Pacific Ocean.
The Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean.
Her lifeline is like, yes. The Hudson Bay doesn't make no sense. Hudson Bay? All right. What? Oh, no! Where are the Caribbean islands located? In the North America, Europe, Central America, or Asia? What? Exactly. Okay, I'm gonna still guess. I'm gonna say Central America. That's rough.
So it's North America.
Oh, we're not America. Central
America.
In the middle.
Oh yes.
Right in the middle. So St. Kitts and Nevis became a federation in 1882, 1800, 1845, or 1900.
1900. 1900?
1800? Oh,
1800?
Oh my God, 1882.
Oh yes, that's when they established.
Oh wow. All right. Which sea surrounds St. Kitts and Nevis? The Caribbean, the Baltic, the Arabian, the Bering. This is too easy. That's yours.
Mine are the Caribbean.
Oh, look at that. Easy peasy, beautiful. Oh man. What was the Arawak leader called? Ooh, so an Obutu, a Yuka, a Kashi, or a Laimiga. I think it's a Kashi. I remember, I don't even want to put this on Miss Fetchick, but I think I remember her telling us that, the Kashi. See, I remember something. See, I paid attention in class. She made it fun, indeed. So what was the year Christopher Columbus came? Okay, we did those already. So you see, I conceded, and of course, the fresher history student won. So congratulations, Tanisha.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So there we have it. Because you know why? I always, look. I always beat him, right? So that's
what it win.
Well, as I said, I conceded. And thank you once again for playing this game with us. And I hope the audience got as much correct as Tanisha did. Don't follow me. So stay tuned. We have plenty more on the other side of this break.
Hi. If you are a smoker, please pay attention to this message. According to the World Health Organization, there are 1.3 billion smokers in the world today, and tobacco kills 1 out of every 2 smokers. Did you know that there is enough nicotine in 5 cigarettes to kill an average adult if ingested whole? There are more than 7,000 chemicals in tobacco smoke, of which more than 250 are known to be harmful. More than 69 are known to cause cancer, and 16 are classified as Group 1 carcinogens. Smoking kills. Are you ignoring that warning every time you smoke? Please stop. Smoking can lead to severe health complications and even death. It affects almost every organ in the body, especially the lungs and heart. It raises blood pressure, increases blood clots, and increases the risk of stroke, heart attack, and cancer. It is hard to quit smoking, but it is not impossible. Don't let tobacco destroy you. Remember the 4 Ds to curb your tobacco cravings. 1. Delay. Set a time limit before you decide to smoke. 2. Drink water. Go get a drink before you do anything else. 3. Do something else. Have a goodie bag handy of other things to do. And 4. Deep breathing. Take at least 10 deep breaths every time you think about smoking. Quit smoking and live a longer and happier life. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health, St. Kitts and Nevis.
As a hypertensive patient, in my home, I reduce salt intake by not adding salt during the preparation of my food, not having a salt shaker on my table, limiting the consumption of salty snacks, and choosing products with low sodium content. That's why I am salt smart.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I coming Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. Stamina, drive, and perseverance. These are the watchwords of any athlete. Today, we meet a competitor who has recently returned from not one, but two competitions where she did very well. Tony Nesbitt placed first and third in the 2022 IFBB, International Federation of Bodybuilding and Fitness, Florida Classic, and placed third in the women's bikini short class category at the IFBB, Inter-Island Bodybuilding Fitness and Physique Championship, which was held in St. Martin. Accompanying Tony is her coach, David Walwing, owner of Fit Wellness Center. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Good morning.
Okay, so congratulations once again, Tony, on your accomplishment. Can we safely say that you have made history for St. Kitts and Nevis?
No, I haven't made history yet, but close to making history.
Okay.
I do have to get into your mind a little bit, Tony, because obviously you say you're close to making history. We know what your goal was going into this competition. How do you keep yourself motivated to work towards that goal?
Okay, I'm a very motivated person and disciplined. So whenever I set a goal, I always stay committed to the goal, be consistent, and just do it as Nike said.
That's nice. So how do you prepare for the competitions then, Tony, without giving away too much?
Okay, when you're preparing for a competition, you have to go on prep. So my prep for these shows were about 20 weeks. I started in February for both shows. So prep simply means that you have to be training and on a strict diet. So I was training for about 6 days a week and a very strict diet, which consists of a lot of vegetables and protein. I didn't eat a lot of starch. You have to remove starch like rice and bread from your diet. So preparing for a show, you just have to really train really hard at the gym. Your workout consists of resistance training, which is lifting weights, and you do a lot of cardio. So I did that for about 20 weeks in preparation for the shows.
All right, Coach, how do you feel about Tony's accomplishments?
Yeah, I'm extremely proud of Tony. It takes a special person to endure the kind of preparation that it takes to compete in these regional competitions, and that's why not a lot of people do it. It takes radical commitment and discipline. Tony just sort of brushed over it, but it's a lot more intense than she may have expressed. Because imagine giving up, and by the way, 20 weeks relates to 5 months. So imagine giving up all those wonderful things that you enjoy. You can never have ice cream or carbohydrate or croissant or bread. You have to be extremely disciplined and regimented in your training routine. You have to go on this very strict diet for 5 months, never ever cheating at all. Wow. So it takes a great deal of discipline and a radical commitment. And so I personally, and I've said this before, but I personally want to commend Tony for exerting that discipline and commitment that is required. And it's going to be those same attributes that's going to get her to achieve the ultimate goal of achieving her pro card. So we hope to do that at the next competition. Have a few different things we need to work on. Not so much her body, but more of her stage presence and posing. And I think we'll accomplish it without a doubt.
Lovely. So David, when did you first observe that Tony had the potential to do bodybuilding?
She has a great physique. Those of you who may know her, she has great genetics. So she's always been very symmetrical. And for me, I thought it was just an easy fit. There are some folks who have a body type and they sort of have to fight to fit into a particular category. Mm-hmm. For her, she had an advantage because she had great genetics. So it was easy. Yeah. So for her, it was just a matter of fine tuning her already good foundation. Okay. So symmetry is a very important component to be able to compete in these competitions, which means everything has to sort of blend very nicely together. Your body has to be very symmetrical.
Okay. All right. So Tony, what we want to know now is your mindset, state that you were in thought about concerning the competition as it was going on, and also at the end of it. What was going through your mind?
Okay, what was going through my mind at both competitions, I was very focused and looking forward to the Florida competition, because that would have been my first time going to the mainland to compete. Okay. And both my coaches, my prep coach and David, they really believe in me and think I had a really good chance in Florida. So I was very excited, I was focused, and I just went there and do my best. And I was able to win my first class, which was Masters over 35 bikini. So that was a very exciting moment for me. And I was very close to winning the pro card, but in that category, they didn't have enough ladies in the other 40 overs. So they didn't give the pro card for that class.
Oh, well, congratulations nonetheless,
yes,
because
again,
it's a great accomplishment. I know the normal scene, many women in the over 35 category, we're talking about bikini, we're talking about physique and symmetry and all the discipline that it takes you to get there. You are obviously going to be a good example for a lot of women, and not just women either, men, young boys, young girls. So we're really proud of you, Tony.
Mm. And the fact that you gave her bread for 5 months, which is most of our staples, man, I'm extremely proud of you. Extremely proud of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I had my first bread when I was leaving St. Martin, and that was like a real joy. I did a little video on my social media to send my first bread in about 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. So, David, we know that you said Tony pushes herself very well, but is there any point at which she peaked and she didn't want to go anymore?
It's a constant struggle, Hortensia. It's not easy. I make those points, but not. I don't suggest that it is all easy. It's a constant struggle every day for her.
Okay.
But that's where the discipline and commitment comes in, and that's what makes champions. Despite, she gets up just to give you a sense of a routine. She had to get up at 5 o'clock sometimes a little earlier than that, 4:30, do an hour of cardio before she goes to work, where she does a full day at work. After she leaves work, she has to come hit the gym, go through a very instinctive workout, and then do cardio again after that. And that's 6 days a week. And so it's she gets grumpy, not being able to eat what she want to eat, cutting out all the foods, so there's no enjoyment. And so somebody has to muster a great deal. That's why I use the word radical. A great deal of discipline and commitment to be able to push through that frustration, push to those days where you don't feel like getting up and do it anyway. And, that's what champions are made of.
Indeed. Well, on that note, we will continue after this break, so we ask our audience to stay tuned. Much more with David and Tony after this.
As a hypertensive patient, in my home, I reduce salt intake by not adding salt during the preparation of my food, not having a salt shaker on my table, limiting the consumption of salty snacks, and choosing products with low sodium content. That's why I am salt smart.
Representing for Good Morning SKN. We say good vibes, good energy, blessings and love. Voice rated.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We continue our discussion with Tony Nisbet, IFBB winner, and her coach, David Malwin of Fit Wellness Center. Tony, what I really want to know now, realistically, is after listening to Coach David talk about the mental strength that it takes and the sheer commitment that it takes to get to the level that you are at. Obviously, you were a human being, as he hinted, and I'm glad that he hinted that. Were there any mornings and any moments when you went to train with him that you just thought, you know what, can I get out of this one today? Do I really have to push myself that hard? Let's talk about those moments, Tony.
Yes, there was a lot of those moments. It takes a lot to go training, especially after my work. I have a hectic job. And sometime after my job, my energy is already low because I'm on low carbs. And I get very grumpy when I'm on low carb. So sometimes I have a little fight with my coach. But, I have to dig deep and discipline. That's when discipline come in, and commitment, that you have a goal. So you have to push through your bad moments. And another thing that keep me going is one of my good friends. She lives all the way Atlanta, but she always does cardio with me in the early morning. So at 5 o'clock, we get up each morning. We do WhatsApp call, and she does the cardio with me for 30 minutes. And that really keep me going, because sometimes you don't want to get out of bed. You're tired. The previous night you had a long resistance training, but there's a goal. And in order to achieve any goal, you have to make certain sacrifices in life. So I know it was just for a moment, it's prep time. And then thereafter, I'll have a little break after the competition. So what keep me going is the discipline and the commitment to the goal.
Such discipline. But I'm still on the fact that you had a fight with your coach. You have fights, because it's human, and I get it. And, thank you for showing us that side.
We do fight.
So David, other than supporting Tony and ensuring that she becomes the best that she is, what other aspects are there as your role as coach during the journey with Tony?
Coach covers, really everything. You become, the ultimate support to your athlete, particularly, for a case like Tony's preparing for regional competitions. You have to check-ins every day. You have to be very involved in her diet, in her training. She has to do check-in photos to see how her body's responding to training, because adjustment will need to be made if she's too flat or she's becoming too hard. So it is. There's a very, very involvement in her training. And she talk about fighting. There's times she comes, she's grumpy. There's times that I say, listen, I'm not going to take this attitude today. I'm not training you today. Come back tomorrow when you feel like that. No, it's that intense, because just imagine there's many times I have to bite my tongue, because I have to sort of understand what she is, because she's very frustrated. She's on edge. She's not able to eat. She's tired. She's frustrated. And so, you have to take those things into consideration. But, sometimes, it takes a coach to say, okay, we're pushing a bit too hard. Just let's back off a little bit. Let's do something lighter.
Okay.
And so, it takes, a person has to have a very keen sense of the person and sort of being very in tune with them. Because, you don't want to push someone too hard, because that can be counterproductive. It can affect how muscles are developed, and create stress and, increase cortisol levels and those kind of things. So it's very, 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 very technical as well.
All right, so David. Yes, continue, please.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Continue.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right. So I was going to ask you about the pro card, the history of St. Kitts and Nevis. Any competitors? We asked Tony about making history before, and you had a bit of insight for us on that.
Yeah. So I always when we do posts, I always say that Tony's going to be the first person in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis to become an IBB pusher. Doesn't mean saying because, but the reality is that's the fact. I don't know of anyone in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, in the history of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so if anyone out there listening can prove that wrong, I really would like to know. Apart from Bertil Fox, apart from Bertil Fox that I know. There's no one else in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis that has ever achieved an IFBB Pro card. So she'll be the first to accomplish that when she accomplished that.
All right, that's great. We're looking forward to it.
That's huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's inevitable. That's inevitable.
It is inevitable. And once again, I said she will bring it home for the Federation. She definitely will. So Tony and David, what is your philosophy on fitness?
Tony, you going to go first?
Okay, fitness to me is something that keeps me going each day. I relieve my stress from my work, and I'm also a mom. I have a son. So that's my little escape when I go to the gym and work out. You know, I really enjoy fitness as I'm a very shy person. I always tell my coaches, and he knows that. But I love competing because of the fitness part of it.
Okay.
I enjoy the training, and when we go to the different shows, I'm meeting the athletes. That's one of my favorite parts of it. Meeting the athletes, networking, meeting the judges. So fitness is just a way of life for me. It's a lifestyle. Even when I'm not prepping, I eat clean 90% of the time. And I would encourage persons to really include fitness in their life. We have a lot of diseases going around. Make you age gracefully, keep you in good shape. And it's just something really good to get into. So fitness along with diet, because you have to include diet. People say diet is like 70%, but to me, diet is like 100%. If you go out working out, and you're not adjusting your diet and eating healthy, you won't see the results and changes in your body. And I really saw that this prep. We took our nutrition and dieting to another level in this prep. And it was just amazing how the body look and the muscles and your symmetry changes. So fitness and diet both have to be 100% to achieve results.
Nice, indeed. David?
Well, first, let me just say fitness, I incorporate, people always just think of fitness as something separate apart from myself. First, I think it's important to note that fitness is an integral part of a very single human being. You know, their mental, psychological, emotional, spiritual, and physical state. It's an integral part. It cannot be separated from the parts of oneself. And so it's not even a choice to say that I choose not to be fitness. I mean, you look at people who are extremely fit and pursue a regular exercise routine, they tend to be more favorable in life. You know, tend to get the better jobs. They tend to be more appealing to mates. They tend to get further in life, and there's a reason for that. Because people understand that it requires a great deal of different level of discipline and commitment to maintain yourself, and it also speaks to a person's self-value. It says a lot about a person if they take care in taking care of themselves. So for me, fitness isn't separate apart. It's an integral part of who we are as human beings, and it's inextricably linked to what makes us up as human. And so it's no different than getting up every morning and taking a bath. It has to be an integral part of your daily life. It cannot be separate. We can spend a whole 2 shows to talk about the many benefits of fitness. Maybe we'll do that at some point. But this is why it's so important, and if we don't do it, we will perish. Yes. Because it's such an integral part of our human being.
Okay.
Well, definitely, we see some of the results from being fit. We are so proud of your work with Tony. Tony, we are incredibly proud of you.
Congratulations again, Tony.
You know that we're rooting for both of you to bring it home to us.
Yes.
Best of luck in the future. And thank you again for stopping by and having this delightful conversation with us. We really do appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. All right, more GMSKN in a moment. Stay tuned, everyone.
Self-health management refers to the measures people take to manage their own health. You and I should remember to wash hands often with soap and water, or use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid touching your eyes, mouth, and nose. Take your temperature morning and evening. Watch for symptoms. Persons with diabetes or hypertension are reminded to take your medication regularly as prescribed. If you have no symptoms, you may carry out your normal routine and boost your immune system. When you are outside, avoid public spaces and wear a mask at all times. If you develop symptoms, put on a mask and seek medical care. Do not take public transportation. Inform the doctor of your travel history, any contact with confirmed or suspected cases, your occupation, and whether anyone around you has similar symptoms. If you become ill, please rest at home. Wear a mask and isolate yourself from others in your household. If you share a bathroom, disinfect daily using 1 part bleach to 10 parts water. Everyone must work together to reduce the spread of the coronavirus.
Has anyone ever touched you here, here, or here? Well, these are actually bad touches, not good ones. And so, if anyone ever touches you in these areas or anywhere else that makes you uncomfortable, you must say no, then go and tell. Say it with me. Say no, then go and tell.
This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with Probation and Child Protection Services, the Ministry of Health, and the Pan American Health Organization.
Everyone is encouraged to adopt a healthy and positive approach to daily life. Here are a few friendly reminders.
When you go to the local market and food vendors, remember to maintain a social distance of 6 feet or 2 meters apart. And always wear your mask.
Always keep your hands clean. Wash your hands with soap and water or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer.
When dining, choose restaurants with staggered seating. This will lower the risk of transmission.
If you have a fever, cough, or other respiratory symptoms, please wear a mask and seek medical care immediately. Rest at home and do not visit the food vendors, local markets, or restaurants.
Good morning, SKN. It is time for us to loosen up. And today we will be speaking about what it is like to save as an adult. Cortensia and I were actually just joking about that.
Yeah.
Because we're thinking we're going to be loosening up, talking about ways that we can restrict spending.
Exactly.
Yeah. What about your saving experience? I feel like a creditor now. Well, what is your saving experience?
My saving experience was good. It was great. I have to use all the words of Donald Trump. It was excellent until March 2020. I swear, it was going great. But March 2020 came, and that's when I had no more income coming in from work. As of April 1st, there's no more work. I'm in a country, I'm paying for an apartment out of my pocket, and my rent was $1,700 a month. So it just keeps going down, going down, going down, going down. So, and then I have to get food, then I have to get gas for the car, then I have to, So, but I'm grateful for the savings though. Thank God I had a disciplined saving regime because it worked for me until 2022. I'm trying to play catch up, but catch up is eluding me.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally do.
What about you?
You said ketchup, and I'm thinking about food, which is terrible because
No
we just came
fries.
off of the segment
Well,
with the culture.
in this case, the ketchup is running away from the fries. So,
Well, there you go. Well, it looks like the money is running away from the people who want to save it.
Yes, indeed.
That being said, it's interesting because, well, you know already that I have been, dare I say, unemployed. I was a student. Obviously, I retired in 2018. And I went to school on those funds from the gratuity, luckily.
Okay.
I mean, I planned it that way, and that worked out well. for the most part.
Okay.
Savings. Yeah, when I start to work again.
Savings going to be on fleek.
I'm working right now. So yeah, we're working, but I'm still in school. So obviously there are
gonna
things
take a while,
that,
yeah.
But I do understand what you're saying because your reality is the reality of a lot of people when it comes to COVID, when you were working and then you're out of work. In my case, it was a little different because I was in a foreign country paying those things as well.
Likewise.
And I was still in school. And so when COVID came, like many other students across the region and even across the world, we were able to return to our places, where we come from, our countries, to not have to pay that rent to somebody else. And so it kind of worked to our advantage.
Best thing ever, huh?
Somewhat. The best thing ever, somewhat. But yeah, you're absolutely right. To your point, I don't think in a lot of situations saving is as easy as some people try to make it to be. You have to be disciplined, I think. And you were. You said that.
I was disciplined. We need a new word. That wasn't my word. Let me tell you, I'll stuck to my budget like ants would be stuck to a pad that you should. You know the ones you used to catch the insect? That's how stuck I was. And the insect cannot get off. That's how stuck I was.
Wow.
I kept on it. I worked my budget. Once that money was done, no more. No touching of anything. I don't go to the ATM. It could be right in front of my face. As far as Cortez is concerned, she has no more money to spend. No more money to spend.
Yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. It is what it is. But what's the other word that you would have for discipline?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think about it.
Right?
Yeah.
Punishment? If you don't
it could be punishment because you have it and but you see I didn't spend money unnecessarily. If I needed it, I knew I had to get it, but I stuck to my regimen. So I didn't go willy-nilly and say, I'm picking up this and I'm picking up that and picking up that. I did because I had a goal. Because at the end of the year, I needed to, as I said, listen to a lot of motivational speakers and I needed to live up to what I was listening to. I needed to practice and it worked for me for so many years. As I said, this money lasts me right throughout. Yeah.
It's interesting to me because I think when I think of savings on one hand, I do have to think about loans on the other. And I think in a lot of instances, they go hand in hand. At least that's the way they're marketed by institutions.
Yeah.
Savings and loans, right? And I think in a lot of ways, we've been programmed here to believe that if you are extended a line of credit, and that's how I say it, greater credit than some people, perhaps your income level is greater, so you get extended, more credit. It's a sign of success when realistically I've sat through meetings with economic professionals and they've said effectively that even having a credit card is something like having an ongoing loan.
Of course it is.
There you go.
It is. That's why I don't believe in credit cards.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a debit card and as I said, the machine can be right there. Cortensia is not going to the machine and people might say, I'm a Scrooge, I'm a cheapskate, but I'm keeping my extreme discipline going. That's
just cut the card off. That's what I hear.
You spoke about loans.
Yeah.
I know sometimes they advertise or they market. You take a certain amount of loan and while you're paying back, you're still saving. Do you believe in that?
I love the way that it's marketed, and it's all about marketing. You're absolutely right, because realistically, I would prefer, and I guess this is my philosophy on it, if I could avoid institutions, and obviously you can't do that forever, but if you could avoid taking a loan, then you might actually be better off saving, because when you calculate the amount of money that you spend in interest over a given period, really what you're paying for is instant gratification.
Yes.
You're not delaying your gratification, you're getting the end goal that you want up front. But then you're paying so much in interest when realistically, if you were as disciplined at the beginning, as you said, and you saved a little bit, you might be able to pay less interest. I'm not saying that you totally disregard the loan, but it might be more manageable in a lot of instances. So yeah, the interest is in the institution's interest. That's how I look at it.
Exactly. I like that. That's
not necessarily my own.
Not necessarily ours.
Right.
Some people normally say to use the bank money, it's better. Keep yours put up. Do you believe in that as well? I don't know if I believe in that too much, because eventually if a next pandemic happened, then I have to use my money to pay back the bank. So I won't be working someplace where I have a steady income where that money was going to, whilst my money sit there and gain the interest that it gains. But
do you realize that I say this all the time, and I guess it behooves all of us really to take a look at our financial situations and figure out exactly where we want to go and what we're seeing. Because when you think about the interest rates that we get when we save, for instance, with certain institutions, it's very different from the interest rates that we get when we borrow from the same institutions. And so you're thinking about that disparity, and it just becomes, maybe we really should save. Saving is important. Really.
Saving is important, yes. And we notice we lose most of our money when we're sick, right?
Yes.
I don't understand how that one thing can almost deplete, drain, take everything that we worked for so hard. We have to sell even ourselves sometimes to make the extra money.
Your health is your wealth. Your health is your wealth, and if you are not healthy,
and
you
David
can't
and Tony
do
just spoke to that, so we have
things. Exactly.
So I have to ask you, were you groomed to save, or when did you first took it seriously that it is important to save something?
Well, I knew that savings were important from a very young age, and my aunt actually opened up a junior savings account for me, and I think she put $100 on that account. I don't even know if it's still operational. I think I got transferred if anything was zero after, but I appreciated that. Yeah, I'd rather go into the institution that way. Honestly, to be honest, I'd rather do that. But anyway, in any event. Yeah, we are just about out of time.
Yeah, I was groomed to save. So
you were groomed to save.
Yeah, I was groomed to save.
How about you guys? What are your savings tips? You know what? Share them with us. Yeah, you never know. You might help somebody else. 23379C.
Yeah, they can also tell us if money really buys happiness, or if it can't buy happiness. How about that?
Money buys things that make you happy. How about that?
For a little while.
Not really. You can be so upset with me, but I'll be in my pool, lounging. Yeah, calling my butler. Awesome. Yeah, it's great. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay. Whatever you think. That's something that people without money say.
And what happens when that money run out and you cannot call the butler? We will discuss that after this break. Stay tuned.
Everyone is encouraged to adopt a healthy and positive approach to daily life. Here are a few friendly reminders.
When you go to the local market and food vendors, remember to maintain a social distance of 6 feet or 2 meters apart. And always wear your mask.
Always keep your hands clean. Wash your hands with soap and water, or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer.
When dining, choose restaurants with staggered seating. This will lower the risk of transmission.
If you have a fever, cough, or other respiratory symptoms, please wear a mask and seek medical care immediately. Rest at home and do not visit the food vendors, local markets, or restaurants.
As a hypertensive patient, in my home, I reduce salt intake by not adding salt during the preparation of my food, not having a salt shaker on my table, limiting the consumption of salty snacks, and choosing products with low sodium content. That's why I am salt smart.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. Around the world, there are so many traditions. A tradition is defined as a custom or a belief that is transmitted from one generation, or that is transmitted from generation to generation, right? But what are the origins of traditions? And what are their significance? Who decides what custom becomes a tradition? Well, Jamie and I will be exploring some of the most fascinating traditions from around the world. So let's explore. Dora, Jamie,
I know, right?
and Hortensia.
Not to be confused with Christopher Columbus.
I know.
So there's a day of silence in Bali.
Oh, wow.
So a public holiday in Indonesia, which the Balinese fast and meditate, on which rather the Balinese fast and meditate. So the following day is also celebrated as New Year's Day. So there's a whole day of silence.
So they don't speak.
Should we start that now?
We can't stay silent for too
You
long.
broke it. I'll just go over that. You broke it.
We had to break
it.
that tradition. Sorry, but oh my gosh, a whole day of not talking. I think I can do a few hours. Maybe I can do a whole day. Maybe I'm fooling myself.
Interesting.
Indeed. Oh, look at that. But that doesn't look too silent. Because that Munster looked like he spoke back in the day.
I don't even know what the significance of that is.
That don't look too silent. No, man, that don't look too silent. Look at that. Ooh.
All right, so that's it for
Finland, wife carrying. I saw something going around like that the other day when the guys were carrying their wives, but they were like carrying them through mud and they kept falling. Oh, you saw that one too?
I saw the clip, yeah.
They kept falling off. So wife carrying is a contest in which male competitors race while each carries a female teammate. The objective is for the male to carry the female through a special obstacle track in the fastest time, and that was
That's
mud.
the same one, yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's so sweet.
Sweet
That's
and
so
funny.
dirty.
The poor husband.
That's so dirty.
He's just sinking in the mud, and then the wife is falling off, and then she has to go back on. But
Yeah.
all in the host of fun.
The couple that gets dirty together stays together.
Stays together always.
I don't know.
The mud is the glue that keeps them together. How about that?
Don't quote me on that. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So that's in Finland.
Oh my gosh, that is so fun. But look how he's carrying his poor wife.
Oh, she's not poor. Trust me. She's happy for the lift.
It's going to her head. Look.
She is happy for the lift.
Her face is flushed. Oh my gosh. And he looks like he's enjoying it too.
All right, so we're on to Tuscany.
We're going to Italy now.
Flag throwing. In the classical flag version, the flag is turned left and right around the body in a standing posture. In acrobatical flag throwing, the thrower uses both hands to move the flag in a sitting. Laying. Yes, yeah, my visibility shot.
Or kneeling position.
Or kneeling posture. Okay,
Posture.
that's what it is.
Oh, okay. So they throw the flag, and then they catch it kneeling. Is that what they say? Or catch it sitting? You think? Okay, I'm gonna Google this when I go home so I can see the actual thing.
I'm just thinking like I'm not gonna throw my flag at all. How about that? I'll wave it. Anyway, that's their culture.
Battle of the Oranges. Dun dun dun. We're still in Italy. Look at that.
Yeah, I see
so,
that.
The Battle of Oranges is said to commemorate the day the town folks were free from the harsh rule of an evil Jew. So what did they do? Pelt him with the oranges?
Well, that's what I want to know.
Stone him with oranges?
That's exactly what I want to know.
Because in St. Vincent, if you're not good on the stage, they stone you with tomatoes. I can't believe those people come prepared with tomatoes in their purse.
Yeah, and okay, here we go.
See, yeah, pelting. Pelting.
Talk about a food crisis.
I know. All that orange juice. All that pulp.
It's cultural. Okay.
Oh, man.
All right.
Oh, so they're pelting each other with the oranges. Ooh, and now we go to South America.
Rio, Brazil.
Yes.
Jumping 7 waves.
With a surfboard?
Well, we'll find out. A popular New Year tradition in Brazil. Brazilians believe this brings them luck and strength to face the year ahead of them. And for each wave, you are allowed 1 wish. Well, so you've got 7 wishes if you jump 7 waves.
So are these the waves that come into the shore and then you just jump them? Or you go on the surfboard and you jump 7
Well, if we have a
waves?
clip, we're going to see.
I know.
I think you're probably just jumping.
Oh, you're
like
jumping
that.
them as they
Yeah.
come in. Okay.
So literally
I
you're
was
on the
correct.
shore and you're jumping
Oh,
over.
okay. So I have to jump 7 waves. And do we traditionally have to dress in white too?
I don't
With a
know.
little yellow?
I don't know. Cortez.
I'm just saying. I'm just wondering because I can try jumping the waves here and see if I get several wishes, including a fatter bank account. How about that?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
If that were the result of jumping waves, I tell you.
Everybody would be able to jump in waves, huh?
Wow.
That will become a petition.
We could skip the waves and we could just jump, and we jump every year, right, for Carnival
Yep.
and Culturama. Just saying.
And now we are in Europe. Back in Europe, I should say.
Yeah.
So cheese rolling, it is the rolling of bundles of brushwood down a hill to represent the birth of a new year after winter. It is connected with the tradition of scattering buns, biscuits, and sweets at the top of the hill. So they're throwing away all the desserts. That's going to stress. Do you know stress spelled backwards is really desserts? So stressed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, look at it that way. So they're throwing away all the desserts that make me stressed. Look at it.
Wow.
Oh, I saw that.
The incredible intelligent man.
I saw the ladies did it better though. The ladies weren't being flung like these guys are being flung. The ladies came down better.
Cheese rolling.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah, well, you know what? After you've rolled your cheese, why don't you just toss the teeth?
You must lose some teeth after that.
That's grease. There you go. Live and learn, Cortensia. So when children lose their teeth, it is customary to make a wish for strong adult teeth, as they say, while throwing their lost baby tooth or teeth onto the roof of all places, and this is thought to bring good luck.
Jamie, these kids, their parents are smart and greased. Nobody gets any $5 under the pillow because when you toss it on the roof, then the tooth fairy has easier access to it, and then she doesn't have time to leave money because the parents can say it flies off the roof. How about that?
I'm just thinking at this point, you've got a lot of decayed roofs, depending on the number of children that you have. In any event.
From tossing the desserts, to tossing the teeth, to tossing the orange, to finger pulling. We are now in the Swiss Alps. Look at that. We are moving around. So this is where two contestants, usually men, sit on opposite sides of a substantial table and thread their fingers into a strap. Once in position, they wait for the referee to give a signal before pulling as hard as they possibly can. Now they intend to leave with one less finger, huh? I thought arm wrestling was bad, but pulling a finger?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for pulling a finger.
These traditions are rough.
Yeah.
Ooh la la.
You guys are really,
And look at the angles that they're in. He's almost falling off the chair. This one is using the table as leverage. Wow.
Both of them are actually.
No.
Yeah.
And look at the trophies. Wow.
Finger pulling.
And I love that they're dressed in their traditional wear too, right?
I see that, yeah.
No, that's rough. Wow. What?
Bolivia. Baking money into food.
Wow, that's rough.
No, that's not rough. They've got money to put into food. It is a tradition for bakeries to bake money into sweet pastries and cakes on New Year's Eve. People who find a coin in their sweet pastries or cake will be granted plenty of good luck in the new year. Yeah, please just don't take a bite out of it. Because, you might have to throw your tooth on the roof after that.
But I think they should put the coin in a plastic if they're going to do something like that. Because then I won't eat it, knowing that money carries things.
But we're hoping that the heat sanitizes. Is that possible?
and puts it in the dessert.
Because I'm thinking about all of the hands that go into that. Sweet tooth. Sweet, what do you call it? Sweet bite. Yeah.
As David and Tony said, put down the sweets. So, yeah. We will.
Yeah, but then we were the ones who said to save. So there you go. They go sort of hand in hand, right?
I know. They went perfectly.
Interesting. Yes. Well, just think about it. Anyway, that's what it is. I'm just thinking. That's a whole new bank there. All right, we'll be back in a moment, guys. Stay tuned.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I coming Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might block up, are full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and, most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same, because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
It's only just a phase. Once we're vaccinated, and everybody gonna be safe. Everybody gonna be safe. One kind, yeah. One people. We are roll up to roll up, yeah. 'Cause no man's alone. Do what's right, alright. 'Cause I love you. rest of my radar. I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much. I think it's better for us, yeah. It's better for us. Hey, I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much, yeah. It's better for us. Tell your mommy to roll up to roll out.
Now, welcome back to Good Morning SKN. It is that time when we let you know what is happening. So, Science Station, VBS. Have you been to a vacation Bible school before, Jamie?
Of course.
Yeah, we all grew up on vacation Bible school. That's where I learned to do the chain stitch and the straight stitch, and where I learned a ton of crafts when I was younger. So, well, children ages 3 to 17 years old will get a chance to attend a science-themed vacation Bible school starting next week, Tuesday, 19th July, and ending on Friday, 22nd July. And guess what? There is no registration required. So starting next week, Tuesday, send your children ages 3 to 17 out to the Antioch Baptist Church located in Limekeel for their science-themed vacation Bible school. I wonder what they're gonna do. Think they're gonna make lava lamps and stuff?
Who knows?
It's science-themed.
Who knows? Maybe some recycling will go on there as well. All right, so the Shelter Med of the Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine, the RUSVM, will be hosting a free veterinary outreach clinic on Saturday, the 16th of July from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Newtown Playing Field. Your pets will be given a variety of examinations, including wellness exam and common disease testing. And they will also receive free treatments such as deworming, heartworm prevention, as well as flea and tick prevention. There will also be a limited amount of pet supplies available to patrons, so go out on Saturday and take your pets to the RUSVM's free veterinary outreach clinic. There will be free food, drinks, and children's activities.
Not bad.
Right. So you're gonna get your pets dewormed, heartworm.
I thought about that and I'm thinking this is the beginning of marketing for someone. Because when you begin it, you have to continue it. So I just thought about womp savings gone down again.
Oh, come on. Healthy pets, potentially. That's what you're supposed to think
I know,
about. Healthy pets.
I just had to think about the money aspect of it. And the fact that it's free, but the money aspect. Because once you start these regimens, you have to continue them. I know.
Free food, drinks, children's activities. Free. Here we go.
Well, everything is free. Everything is free. Even the deworming of the dogs.
I guess.
And the tests and the, what is it, the free checkup? So yeah, but then I still had to look at the money aspect of it. Yeah,
okay.
Still had to. So the Faith Emmanuel Seventh-day Adventist Church will be hosting a Time to Awake Gospel Extravaganza running from Friday the 22nd July to Saturday the 20th August. The extravaganza will include powerful preaching, counseling, praise and worship, a concert, and so much more. Patrons can attend in person or virtually via their live stream on the Faith in Emmanuel SDA Church YouTube channel and Facebook page. It is time to awake. It is time to awake. Yes, let me wake you up. So look out for this upcoming gospel extravaganza. Why are you laughing at me?
Because you're waking people at the time when we were telling them what's happening. And if they're not up yet, I'm sorry, but the day's almost over. But I get you.
Up.
I get you.
It's wake up time.
Yeah, or go to sleep. Based on the weather, you never know, right?
And one of those persons that were that are security that was guarding all night, this is their sleep time. So sleep in good peace.
On that note, on those notes, thank you for joining us today. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The handle, of course, is Studio327INC. Let's go at Studio327INC. It's easy, right? So you can subscribe, follow, share.
Do it all.
Do so much more.
Do it all. And as we always say, leave us a comment and let us know what was your favorite part of today's show. all were my favorite parts. We saw history, money, and fitness. Everything today went hand in hand, including a few of those traditions. I don't think I will participate in all, but oh well. So this is where we say see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. when you will start your morning with us right here at Good Morning SKN. Have a great day, guys. Remember to chase your dreams.